When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Tonight on Live Green Tennessee, we take a visit to the Maryville Farmers Market. Then we learn about greening municipal lighting in Chattanooga, and finally we get a hands-on look at the art of canning. All this and more coming up next on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program is provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture, providing leadership on food, agriculture, natural resources, and related issues based on sound public policy and efficient management.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on Live Green Tennessee. Should you find yourself with some free time on Wednesdays or Saturdays in Maryville, Tennessee, you might visit the downtown farmers market. Don't go looking for flash and glitter. This market is a produce only with no wholesale, resale, or crafts. Take the opportunity to get acquainted with the people who produce some of East Tennessee's freshest locally grown produce and treats. Aside from picking up some healthy, fresh food, you can listen to local music, learn how to grow plants, and you might just meet some new friends.
Well, several years ago, maybe 10, some of the farmers were just selling in a parking lot, not having an organized space to sell. And a group got together and decided that Maryville really needs an organized farmers market. So about 6 years ago, we were given permission by the city of Maryville to set up in the parking lot on Saturdays. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
We've always wanted to have a farmers market. We had some downtown Maryville that sporadically, but it wasn't nothing organized. So my wife Dee and I went to some meetings, and she was on the first board of directors of the Maryville Farmers Market. And some people from Maryville College decided we wanted to have one. We wanted to have an organized farmers market with local farmers. You have to have some real good volunteers, people that are really interested, and we did. We found out how Knoxville did their farmers market. Oak Ridge had a farmers market for a long time. So we found out some of their rules, and we wanted to make sure that it's not a craft show. We wanted to make sure that it was a farmers market. So we wanted a lot of local produce and plants, and we've branched out a little bit with artisan products, breads, things like that. Everybody got along, and we just hashed out the rules, and we've evolved a little since then, and we've got a good market going every Saturday here, all through the summer and fall. Maryville Farmers Market's a big part of our business. We come all summer. We start in April, and we come all the way to November, and we just try not to miss a week. We just really enjoy it. It's a really good place to meet people and sell our product as well.
The mission and the goals of Maryville Farmers Market is really all about education. Not just with learning about your farmers, learning about who grows your food, but also education about the area. You'll start some music in a few minutes, and we have John Dupree, who we are very generous with his time and organizes every week local music, and they're all volunteers again. So we're trying to keep the music of the region alive. We also have master gardeners who will come and talk to you about how to grow things. We have harvesting wellness once a month, educating people on how local foods and natural foods contribute to your healthy well-being. So we're really all about education, and we really try to start with the children all the way up to whatever age, and we have things for the children so that they can come and learn more about where their food comes from. Right now we have 40 vendors that come off and on. What makes our market is unique is that we're producer only, and partly because of our space, but part of our mission is to educate people on where their food is coming from, give them an opportunity to really meet the farmers and learn their stories. So that's why we've kept it with just producer only. They're all local farmers. Sometimes they'll come just for a month when they have a lot of corn and tomatoes. Other times they'll come every week. We're open from May until November.
I've been here from the opening of the market. This is our, I think, sixth or seventh year, and we always have done direct marketing, so we're kind of following our forte to stay with the markets by coming to this one. We do 7 markets a week all over Knoxville and the surrounding area. We kind of specialize in the odd and unusual. We do like 16 varieties of eggplant, 14 different varieties of peppers. We do a lot of odd colored vegetables, purple carrots, purple potatoes, not your typical East Tennessee produce. Makes it a lot easier to sell if you don't have what everybody else does on your table. And a lot of the restaurants we sell to also really like the different colors and have something different on their menu than they normally would have.
Wildwood Farm is a farm that's been in my husband's family for years and years and years. We've always run Black Angus cattle on the farm, and that's primarily what we sell year-round. They're all grass-fed. They're bred, born, and raised on the farm, and we take them one at a time to Greenville to be processed. We also have pastured chicken that we raise seasonally. That's where the chickens are basically allowed to free range in pens, and we move their pens to fresh grass every day. We process those chickens on site. We are one of the few farms that are licensed to process chicken on property and then sell. We also have pastured eggs. We have a gigantic egg mobile that sits out on 200 acres that has a solar panel door that lets them in at night and shuts up in the morning, and they free range in the grasses, and then they go back in the egg mobile to lay their eggs and to eat and get water. Oh, we've had a great response at the farmers market. We sell out of eggs every single week. We're sold out of chicken right now. We can't keep up with it. I think right now you're seeing a huge growth in people wanting to buy local from farmers, from the person down the street. So it'd be my hope that it would continue to grow. This market in particular has gotten larger and larger over the past 2-3 years. The vendors before, when we first started, there were just a few of us, and it's just grown.
This market may be unique from other farmers markets is that we do have producer only. A lot of other markets have craft vendors, restaurant vendors, and we're limited by space, but we're also really wanting to support our local farmers and give them an opportunity to focus on the produce. The future of the farmers market is that we really want to continue to grow, and then we would also love to find a permanent location in the downtown area that we could use not only for farmers markets on Saturdays, but also any local festivals in town. So we're working on that. We also want to continue to educate people about the value of local foods and really, again, support our local farms and make sure that those local farms continue within our community.
When you think of innovative technology, does municipal lighting spring to mind? Well, a company in Chattanooga is pushing the humble streetlight to do more with less. WTCI's Sean Townley introduces us to Global Green Lighting, a company with a vision of a world filled with smart streetlights.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Global Green Lighting's been around since 1997, and we're a components manufacturing company for solid-state components for Cisco Systems, HP, IBM, did a lot of work with GE. And in 2008, we saw a shift in the lighting industry, and we took our experience with the solid-state components and actually started designing the LED drivers and the LED streetlights. An LED is a light-emitting diode, and it's all solid-state, so there's no filaments to burn out. And so it's a totally different way of generating light.
I knew Don Leopard for a long time, and I knew that he was transitioning over into what I call a lighting system, not just a lighting product. It's a new technology for LED lights that is very innovative, saves a tremendous amount of energy, and it's really environmentally positive. And so I wanted to be connected to him when I returned to the private sector, and we've come alongside each other for the last year and a half and represented Global Green Lighting to at least 24 cities in the South. And we've also put these lights up with our help and support at some universities across Tennessee and Alabama.
Every time that we would go in and call on a customer, they would always ask us, how do you measure these energy savings that you keep claiming? And it was a good question. And so we went back to the drawing board and started trying to figure out how we can actually measure it. Smart grid technology was another paradigm shift that was evolving, and we decided that we would try to figure out how to put AMI, automatic metering infrastructure, into the lights and use that to measure our energy reductions and be able to turn that savings over to the utility company and eventually to the customers. And so it wasn't until we actually made that evolution from taking a paradigm shift with LED lighting and a paradigm shift in the AMI, and we created a new paradigm shift in street lighting where we could actually measure accurately the energy savings, report that to the utility companies, and give the city instant savings versus trying to come up with a calculated number that was an estimate. And now that we can actually measure it, you can manage it. We are actually now in the middle of a contract with the City of Chattanooga to deploy 27,000 lights.
The City of Chattanooga is currently in phase 1 of the deployment of these new Global Green lights. What's great about this is that when we're through with this phase, which will probably be by the end of the year, we'll be able to tell for the first time ever, light per light, how well those lights are doing compared to the old lights that were up. I hate to do something as cliched as this, but think about how Coca-Cola was consumed. You know, Coca-Cola was a fountain drink. You know, in Chattanooga, we decided to bottle Coke. All right. At the time, that was sort of a revolutionary idea, and you look at how passé that is now. From an innovation standpoint in Chattanooga, what we're hoping to do is revolutionize that procedure too. That this would be another example of us leading the way in a technology that can change the way we do either complex things or simple things.
This is our actual streetlight production line. This is where we're taking some of the sub-assembly components and putting them into the light. What we're working on back here is the final assembly, if you will. We're taking the brains of the light and also the radio and assembling it into the light. From this point, it will go over to what we call a commissioning statement. Every light is 100% tested. We're testing for two things. We're wanting to know, is the light functioning correctly, and also is the radio communicating with the system to turn it on, turn it off, dim it up, or dim it down.
One of the key things about this technology is that it's a two-way communication, so we can actually reach out and monitor the lights, but we can also diagnose the lights, and we can also, if the light stops working, within 15 seconds we know.
From this online application, I can actually monitor and control every light that's deployed in Chattanooga. So nobody has to go driving around at night to try and figure out where the lights are. All they have to do is just pull on the online application, and it shows you which lights are on and which lights are off. I can dim the light from 25% to 75% and a couple of variables in between. I have the ability to blink the light slow or fast, or to turn the light on to 100%. Or I can come and I can do this little polygon feature, which allows me to capture a bank of lights on the fly. Police officers can just draw this polygon real fast and then just double click, and then they have those lights already selected.
This is a great day for Global Green Lighting and a great day for Chattanooga. This project started about 2009 when we also too were hit with the economic downturn, and we started trying to figure out what we were going to do as a company to revamp.
We actually found a facility here in Chattanooga. It's a 180,000 square foot factory that was once occupied by a manufacturing company that closed about 7 years ago and moved its jobs to Mexico. So we actually took over the building, reoccupied it, reconditioned it, and we actually moved production lines from China back to this facility and have them set up.
To me, this is an exciting day because of the jobs it means, because of the impact it can have environmentally, and it's always significant when you see a manufacturer move from China back to the U.S. because people were saying that that couldn't happen not very long ago.
You got to create new and smarter products and lead for the world like we've always led for the world in new manufacturing practices. And that's where if you embrace sustainability, not as a burden, but as an economic opportunity. I always said that green is not just the environment, green is money. If you connect the two, you know, a green economy means you're still making things, but you're doing it in a much smarter, more responsible way. And that's where places like Global Green Lighting are really the future, not just for Chattanooga and Tennessee, but for the nation and the world. They're deploying these lights daily, and more people are looking at it, and real large institutions have validated the technology as very legitimate, and some of the major institutions have even called it the best lighting system in America today for cities.
Somewhere Place Else Farm, located in Rockville, just outside of Murfreesboro, specializes in all-natural, gluten-free homemade canning. Their canned foods can be found at local merchants all across Middle Tennessee. WCTE's Jacob Carr took us somewhere place else to learn more about the tradition of canning.
When our youngest son was around 2 or 3 years old, if he was bored with his surroundings or whatever, he would just let us know that he wanted to go somewhere place else. He'd just stand up and say, I want to go somewhere place else right now. So we remembered that, and then about 17 years later, we told him that's where we're going to go. We decided to go somewhere place else like you always wanted to. Well, we started gardening immediately upon coming here, and then by chance we got into goats with a lady who lived a few miles from here, had to move, and she said, take these goats, I can't take them with me. So we took about 3 or 4 goats from her, and about a year later there's 55. And so we've stayed into that just from a standpoint of they're great lawnmowers, bush hogs, and take care of the fence rows and that kind of thing. I had a favorite fainting goat baby. I named him Robert E. We name our billy goats after Confederate generals. And he was about 8 months old and disappeared. And come to find out, a coyote got him. And so I said, that's it, we got to find some way to stop it. And so we had seen these big white dogs around here. We weren't familiar with the breed at first. And so everybody tells us, well, that's how you keep your goats from being attacked by the coyotes. So we went and got our first Great Pyrenees about 10 years ago, and haven't had any more coyote problems since. The fun part is the canning. That started about 3 years ago, I guess. We had been growing a lot of the food we were eating, and we were canning a lot of it. And friends and relatives were taking some of it home and coming back to us and saying, you know, you should sell this stuff. And so finally we decided to give it a try. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history. We started very small, and it was so well received we decided to do an all or nothing. So we went all the way into it head first, learning as we go, and to obtain the USDA certifications and everything required to be able to distribute it to the public. Well, of course, we have to, whatever we plant in the garden, we're using that in the canning operation somehow. And for example, peppers in the salsas or the hot sauces. We grow beans for dilly green beans, okra for pickled okra, and a lot of the ingredients that go into the chow chow we grow here. And whatever we don't have locally here that we grow, we'll obtain it from other farms in the area, and we try to keep it as local as possible. We're old style water bath. We don't do the pressure cooker. We do everything we do, we can meet the requirements through water bath canning, and so that's what we do. That's where you put the product in the jars first, and then cap it, and then you heat it. You put it in a boiling water bath for however minutes, depending on what recipe you're using. And then when you remove the jars, when they cool, they seal. And that's basically the whole water bath canning concept, is heat and cool. Oh, well, my wife is basically the kitchen manager, head person in charge of the kitchen operation, and she keeps all the books and the recipes and everything together. She has usually one lady helping her, and they work together to do the water bath canning and all the food prep and all that kind of thing. We really are hesitant to move away from our core value, which is keeping it all natural. It's all gluten-free because my wife is a celiac patient. She's been diagnosed years ago, so as far as gluten goes, she can't eat any wheat or get near any flour or anything like that, which has really been a good attribute for the canning operation to be gluten-free, because it's healthier. Well, it's a labor of love, and people say, and I believe it's true, work on the farm is never done. There's a lot of labor that goes into this. It's very labor intensive. The canning operation is very labor intensive. It would be easier to offload it to a commercial operation and put our label on it, but we don't want to do that. We want to actually maintain control from beginning to end so that we know what's in the jars, we know what the product tastes like, and we know what we're doing. We feel good about knowing that we're behind a product, we're passionate about it, and we really mean what we're doing when we say it's healthier, it's better tasting, and we're basically preserving the same qualities and the same aspects of canning that our past relatives did, and a whole lot of people's predecessors were doing this and doing homemade canning. Mainly, I guess back in the day, it was more for survival, whereas now it becomes more desirable because it tastes better, it's healthier, you know, and what goes into it, you know, it's coming off the land, and people are being more receptive to that kind of thing.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Live Green Tennessee, where we take you all across the state into the farms and businesses of those who are making the move to eating fresh, living sustainably, and helping us all be more organic in our thinking and the way we live our lives as Tennesseans. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Live Green Tennessee.
If you would like more information about Live Green Tennessee, please visit our website at livegreentv.org, where you can find everything from healthy recipes to past episodes and more. This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program is provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture, providing leadership on food, agriculture, natural resources, and related issues based on sound public policy and efficient management.